Chiefs Broncos, dun 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 dun, Mile High Monday night. You guys know the drill. Let's just get into the highlights because we have a doozy on our hands tonight. Opening drive, Mahomes with a play fake and gets good protection before floating one right on the money to Sammy Watkins for 27 yards into Denver territory. Next play, it's the Chiefs ground game getting things going as Kareem Hunt takes the carry up the middle, gets tripped up but not before picking up 10. But later in the drive, 3rd and 1, and this would be a story throughout as Kareem Hunt gets stuffed for a loss and the Chiefs would have to settle for a Harrison Butker field goal. Broncos first play now, and it's the rookie Royce Freeman taking it off the left side, finding a hole, getting into the open field and picking up 27 yards before finally being brought down in Chiefs territory. But later in the drive, you're going to see something that you haven't seen all season as Case Keenum drops back and fires it for the end zone, where it's Eric Berry picking it off and bringing it back to the Chiefs 14 for Case Keenum's first pick of the year. But the Chiefs go 3 and out, and on the first play following the punt, it's the rookie again, but this time to the house he goes. Royce Freeman with the 55-yard touchdown scamper to put the Broncos up 7-3. Following the touchdown, Chiefs looking to answer back as Mahomes finds Kareem Hunt for 14 yards and a first down to the Kansas City 43. Next play, it's Hunt again, this time on the carry up the middle where he's hitting fumbles, but the Chiefs do get it back. And on the next play, they test fade again as Mahomes looks to throw, but Shaquille Barrett gets to him, forces the fumble. Kareem Hunt picks it up, but a 13-yard loss on the play brings up 2nd and 23. But no worries for the Chiefs as on the next play, Mahomes hits new tight end Xavier Grimble for 16 yards over the middle. And on 3rd and 7, Mahomes looks to throw again and squeezes it into Tyreek Hill for the 8-yard gain and a first down. 3 plays later, again 3rd and 7, and Mahomes looks to throw but takes off and is going to pick up 21 down to the 10-yard line. But holding on the Chiefs will bring it back, and they only come away with another field goal to make it 7-6. Second play of the Broncos ensuing drive, and it's Devontae Booker with a full complement of running back moves as he jukes, trucks, and drags his way to an 18-yard gain. And then to end the first quarter, it's Keenum hitting Emmanuel Sanders on the slant as he pushes his way forward to the Chiefs 37 for 16 yards. And it takes just over a minute into the second for Keenum to put Denver in the end zone as he hits Cortland Sutton down the seam, who breaks the tackle of Ron Parker for the 31-yard touchdown, and the Broncos take an early 14-6 lead with the offense running on all cylinders. Chiefs would respond immediately though as Mahomes with the play fake before hitting Sammy Watkins across midfield for a pickup of 26, but we mentioned it earlier, and again on 3rd and 1, the Chiefs try Kareem Hunt and he is stuffed for a loss. Andy Reid unhappy and keeps his offense on the field, where on 4th down they throw, and it's Mahomes hitting Sammy Watkins for 9 yards and a first down to convert. Then on 3rd and 4, it's Mahomes to Watkins again as he catches, spins, and picks up 9 yards again for a first down. Then next play, Mahomes fakes and tosses it out again to new tight end Xavier Grimble, who breaks a tackle and pushes his way forward for 11 yards to set up a 1st and goal, where 2 plays later, it's Mahomes to Grimble again, this time for 8 yards and a touchdown as the Chiefs cut it to 14-13 halfway through the second. Just under 2 minutes, Chiefs looking for points, and Sammy Watkins' big half would continue, starting with a 3rd and 10 catch for 11 yards to move the chains. 3 plays later, it's Watkins again, this time for 6 yards and a first down. 2 plays later, Mahomes looks for and finds Watkins again on the curl for a pickup of 12 across midfield. Chiefs go no huddle, and with 40 seconds to go, it's Mahomes to Hill for 18 yards and a Chiefs timeout. Out of the timeout, Mahomes looks and fires over the middle, finding Demetrius Harris for 12 yards to the Denver 17, but with only 1 timeout left, he has to rush everybody to the line and is able to get the spike off with 22 seconds to go. And on 3rd down with no timeouts left, Mahomes hits Damian Williams, who is slow to turn, picks up the first, but is short of the goal line, and the Chiefs have to rush to the line looking to spike the ball, but realizing the Chiefs won't get another play, Mahomes spikes it with only 3 seconds left, and Harrison Butker comes on to make it 16-14 after a wild first half. The defense is looking to exact some revenge in the 3rd quarter, and it's the Chiefs drawing first blood as Keenum looks to throw, but Breeland Speaks takes him down for his first career sack, pushing the Broncos out of field goal range. And then it's the Broncos' turn as one more time on 3rd and short, Kareem Hunt is stuffed by the Broncos defense. Broncos with the ball back, and Case Keenum hits Jeff Hireman over the middle for 13 yards and a first down into Kansas City territory. Then on the next play, it's Keenum throwing to Cortland Sutton again down the seam, and I don't know how Reggie Ragland didn't pick that one off, but it's a catch and a gain of 26. But on the next play, Keenum with the play fake and nowhere to go but backwards as he gets taken down by Chris Jones Jones for the 16-yard loss, killing the drive, but the Broncos would take a 17-16 lead. Ensuing drive, Mahomes play fakes, but the backside pressure gets to him, forcing the fumble and turnover as the Broncos take over inside the 20. But shortly thereafter, it's Keenum and the Broncos giving it right back as Anthony Hitchens picks it off, breaking tackles and bringing it back to the 19. And after entering the game with no picks through 3 games, Keenum throws 2 in not even 3 quarters, and the focus shifts back to the Chiefs offense, where on the first play following the pick, Kareem Hunt takes the carry and breaks away from 2 Broncos, breaks away from 3 Broncos, breaks away from a 4th Bronco before it takes 2 more Broncos to bring him down. And after a 25-yard gain, the Chiefs are suddenly near midfield as we head to the 4th quarter, where the Chiefs finally convert a 3rd and 1 as they spread the Broncos out, and Damian Williams carries for 13 yards to start the 4th. Then on the next play, Broncos bring the blitz, and after a quiet 3rd, it's Mahomes to Watkins one more time as he makes the catch, sheds the tackle, and scores from 35 yards out to put the Chiefs up 22-17. Chiefs going for 2 to push it to 7, and Mahomes hits Demetrius Harris right in the hands, but he drops it. Andy Reid can't believe it, and the lead remains at 5. Broncos looking to answer, and on the first play, it's Keenum finding Jeff Hireman over the middle for 24 yards and a 1st down near midfield. Next play, it's Keenum looking to throw again, gets good protection and hits Devontae Booker out of the backfield, who picks up 25 more yards down to the Chief 28. Broncos offense continues to roll as on the next play, Keenum again finds Booker wide open out of the backfield, this time for 18 yards down to the 11, where 2 plays later, the give goes to Royce Freeman off the left side, who runs through Chiefs safety Ron Parker to score his 2nd touchdown of the game and put the Broncos back in front. Broncos turn to go for 2 now, and they once again give to Freeman, but it's Dee Ford and Chris Jones stuffing him to keep the Denver lead at 1. Chiefs go 3 and out, giving it right back to the Broncos with 10.5 to go, and their first chance to stop them comes with 8 minutes to go, but it's Case Keenum to Jeff Hireman for 26 yards to convert. Then just over a minute later, 3rd down again, but Keenum this time hits Emmanuel Sanders for 10 yards and just enough to move the chains, allowing the Broncos to bleed more time off the clock. And on 2nd and 2 with 4 minutes to go, Keenum hits Devontae Booker for an 18-yard touchdown to push the Denver lead to 8. Back to Mahomes and the Chiefs. First play, Demetrius Harris over the middle for 28 yards into Denver territory. Next play, Mahomes to the man of the night, Sammy Watkins, who makes his 10th catch at the 25 and takes it all the way down to the 3, bringing him up to 187 yards receiving on the night. And it takes all of 3 plays and a minute and 12 seconds for the Chiefs to put themselves in a position to tie as the Broncos send everyone, leaving Demetrius Harris wide open for the touchdown, setting up the 2-point conversion. And again, the Broncos crowd the middle and send everyone, leaving Tyreek Hill wide open as the Chiefs tie it at 30 apiece. So back to Denver we go, and on the first play, Keenum fakes to Freeman and chaotically moves in the pocket before firing deep and hitting Demaryius Thomas deep down the middle, a 43-yard gain to take us to the 2-minute warning. Broncos get conservative on 1st and 2nd down running the ball, but it worked all game long, and they pick up 6, bringing up 3rd and 4. And when it matters most, the Chiefs finally do get a stop with Ron Parker stuffing Royce Freeman. Andy Reid calls the Chiefs' last timeout to preserve clock, and Brandon McManus comes on, and the kick is up and good, and we have our 6th lead change of the game as the Broncos take the 33-30 lead. So the Chiefs 1:44 to go and no timeouts. First play, Mahomes with nowhere to go, throws short, and it's knocked away. Second play, Mahomes tries to thread the needle as Sammy Watkins, and it's nearly picked off but falls to the ground. 3rd and 10, and it looked like Tyreek Hill was going to break free behind Chris Harris Jr., but once again nearly picked off, bringing up a do-or-die 4th down for the Chiefs, where Mahomes sets his protection, drops back to pass, drifting to his left, and finds Sammy Watkins, who makes the catch, breaks a tackle, and gets upfield, picking up 17 yards to the 42. Chiefs hurry to the line. Mahomes looks to throw, but with nothing there, decides to take off, picking up 9 and coming up just short of the marker as the clock continues to run. 48 seconds to go, and yet another dangerous throw from Mahomes is knocked away by the Broncos defense to bring up 3rd down, where Mahomes looks to throw, but again nowhere to go. He tries to scramble, but is pinball behind the line for a sack and a loss of 2 as the clock continues to run. Chiefs hurrying to the line, and on 4th and 2, Mahomes connects with Chris Conley, who gets the first down but only gets 6 yards, and more importantly is tackled inbounds. And with no timeouts left, the clock continues to tick down. Chiefs need to spike it, and finally with 12 seconds to go, Mahomes snaps and sends the ball into the ground, stopping the clock and giving the Chiefs one more chance to get into field goal range. So with 12 seconds to go, Mahomes out of the shotgun looks to throw and fires towards the sideline and hits Demarcus Robinson, who makes the catch but somehow doesn't manage to get out of bounds. The clock continues to run, and with no time for a spike, the Chiefs run out of time. I can't believe it. Andy Reid can't believe it. And on an absolutely wild Monday night, we are seemingly robbed of overtime as the Chiefs do exactly what they need but are thwarted in their attempt to reach the holy grail that was the sideline. Over 1,000 yards of total offense as both teams crack the 500-yard mark. Patrick Mahomes throws for 370 yards, 204 of which go to Sammy Watkins. Case Keenum started slow but throws for 312 himself, while rookie running back Royce Freeman gashes the Chiefs defense for 198 yards on the ground while also scoring twice. Just an absolute heartbreaker for Kansas City as they come up short, and the road doesn't get any easier as they go home next week to face the 4-0 Jaguars. Meanwhile, for Denver, they get a huge win to push them to 3-1 as they go on the road next week to face Sam Darnold and the Jets. All right, guys, so that was tough to say the least. Really no other way to put it. A lot of different feelings after that game. There's obviously fun there because that was a great game. I did have a lot of fun playing that game, even though it didn't go my way. It was almost in that Madden ball territory, but honestly, I'm okay with having games like that here and there. With the way the season's gone and with the way Madden 19 is, where there's more defensive games, it's nice to have a game where both sides were moving the ball well. And there were still punts in that game and only a couple turnovers, nothing too crazy. But then there's obviously frustration there. That first quarter touchdown run, I came over with the safety and tried to make the tackle, but he didn't do anything, and just my safety just ran right by him. A couple of those passes to the running backs near the end of the game there. The first one, the guy that's covering him just freezes and basically lets him get 10 yards of separation. And then the second one, I think was the touchdown. The linebacker covering him actually passes him off, but the guy he passes him off to is jamming the receiver, so he doesn't get out there to ever even cover him. And then that last play, man, I don't know how he didn't get out of bounds. I don't even know how I completed it in the first place, but man, that's a rough way to lose one, but that's the way it goes. If I was able to contain their offense at all in the game, I easily win, but you give up 200 plus yards on the ground, which came out of nowhere really, and then all the passing in the second half, and it's more than just one play that loses you the game, and that's where the frustration comes from, is all the opportunities you had during the game to change the course of the game, and that's why you're frustrated. But damn, it would have been nice if he could have gotten out of bounds there. But with that, let's get into the roster, scouting, and league news, starting with some negotiations. Last week, we offered our kicker Harrison Butker a 4-year, $10 million extension, to which he declined. So I bumped up the salary and the bonus up just a tad, and he has agreed to a 4-year, $11.8 million contract. That's probably pretty high for a kicker, and not that it really means much, but he's a good one. Plus, he's young, so we'll lock him up for the time being. And then a new player eligible to negotiate with this week was running back Spencer Ware, who you guys might remember was placed on injured reserve last week. I offered him a 3-year, $14 million contract, and he rejected it, stating that he liked the salary and duration, but wanted a better bonus. This kind of creates an interesting scenario for me because I'd really like to keep him. He's only 26, and despite only being a 79, he has some nice traits in terms of his running style, but he's also injury prone, and almost $5 million for a backup running back already seemed a bit high for a backup, so we'll have to see if that's going to be worth it moving forward. Moving on, we don't have any new draft stories this week, but we do have a new draft tweet from Matt Miller that says, impossible to run the ball on Hanson Eaton, should be a rock on an NFL defensive line. So moving to the additions to the draft board for week 4, we have Hanson Eaton, who is a left end, which is interesting because Alan Bailey is our current left end and is also a free agent at the end of the year, and I already had in my mind that it would be a position that I'd be looking looking to upgrade, so him being a left end definitely piques my interest. Although similar to last week's story with the Olympic weightlifter, it seems like he's the opposite of what he's described as, with his pass rush moves being one of his highest attributes, and it seemed like more the tweet was describing him as more of a run stopper. And then also making the draft board is going to be center Gordon Marpet, who looks pretty good with both a mix of run and pass block in his 3 attributes. So time to move on to the league news, starting with the scores from week 4, where on Thursday night the Rams took down the Vikings 35-17. Moving to Sunday, the Jaguars beat the Jets 24-14. Patriots dropped the Dolphins 17-7. Titans hand the Eagles their first loss, while the Colts keep the Texans winless. Packers beat the Bills, Cowboys destroy the Lions, and the Bears earn their first win in a 38-32 victory over the winless Bucks. Falcons with the 7-point win over the Bengals, and then the Seahawks are the first road team of the week to get a win, and the Browns liked winning so much last week that they decided to do it again, as they also earn a road victory over the Raiders. But as for the rest of the week, it was once again all home cooking, as the Giants beat the Saints, Chargers beat the 49ers, Steelers beat the Ravens, and the Broncos hand the Chiefs a heartbreaking 33-30 loss on Monday night. So as we look at the AFC standings, the Patriots avoid falling to 1-3 and 2 games back of the Dolphins by beating them and moving into first place, while the Bills and Jets remain a game back. The Steelers at 3-1 sit atop the North with the old Browns, and the current Browns tied at 2-2 with the Bengals in the basement at 0-4. Jaguars look poised to take the South through the first quarter of the season, as they sit at 4-0 with the Titans and Colts 2 games back at 2-2, and then the Texans winless at 0-4. And then in the West, the Chargers also lead the way at 4-0, while the Broncos move to 3-1, and we sit at 2-2 with 2 division losses, but still ahead of the Raiders, who continue to be in last place. To the NFC, the Eagles lose but still sit atop the East with a half-game lead over the Redskins, while the Cowboys and Giants are a half-game back of them at 2-2. In the North, the Vikings and Packers have separated themselves from the Lions and Bears, as they both sit at 3-1 over the 1-3 counterparts. In the South, the Panthers had the week off and benefit from both the Saints and Buccaneers losing, but the Falcons win their second straight after taking down the Saints last week. And in the West, the Seahawks are alone at the top at 3-1, while the Cardinals and Rams are tied for second at 2-2, with the 49ers a game back of them at 1-3. You saw him run wild on us in the highlights, and Royce Freeman, the rookie running back from Oregon, takes home this week's AFC Offensive Player of the Week award. Freeman's 198 yards on the ground were the third most ever by a Broncos rookie, only behind Clinton Portis and Mike Anderson. Freeman added 2 touchdowns, helping the Broncos win 33-30 on Monday night over the Chiefs. The NFC Offensive Player of the Week is a member of the 99 Club in Aaron Rodgers. The Packers quarterback was 26 of 37 for 275 yards with 3 touchdowns in the Packers' 27-16 win over the Bills. This is Aaron Rodgers' 17th Player of the Week award since entering the league as the 24th overall pick in the 2005 draft. The AFC Defensive Player of the Week is some more salt in the wound of our 33-30 loss, as Shelby Harris of the Broncos is this week's winner. The Broncos defensive tackle sacked Patrick Mahomes 3 times, also forcing a fumble, and had 9 tackles from his interior position on the line. The NFC Defensive Player of the Week is a former Shippensburg Raider, Hamburg Sea Devil, Atlanta Falcon, Miami Dolphin, and current Tampa Bay Buccaneer in cornerback Brent Grimes. Grimes picked off Bears quarterback Mitchell Trubisky twice and recorded 9 tackles, but it wasn't enough, as the Buccaneers still surrendered 38 points and lost to the Bears in Chicago. As we move to the passing leaders, we have another member of the 99 Club in Tom Brady leading the way with a fitting 1,212 yards passing. Marcus Mariota enters the top 5 at second, while Carson Wentz sits at third, 1 yard ahead of top 5 newcomer Jameis Winston. And then rounding out the top 5 is the QB we'll be seeing next video in the Jaguars' Blake Bortles. As for passing touchdowns, the top 3 remains the same as last week, with Carson Wentz leading the way with both Tom Brady and Blake Bortles behind in second and third, but 2 newcomers entered the mix at 4th and 5th in Jimmy Garoppolo, who has 10 touchdown passes, while Marcus Mariota has 9 on the year. Ezekiel Elliott continues to lead the way in rushing yards, but holds only an 8-yard lead over Le'Veon Bell, who sits at second. Leonard Fournette, who will be facing next week, is third, with a pair of NFC West running backs at fourth and fifth in Todd Gurley and David Johnson of the Cardinals. And speaking of Todd Gurley, he now sits atop the NFL rushing touchdown leaders with 6. The rest of the group is made up of backs tied with 4 touchdowns, starting with fellow NFC running back Chris Carson, and continues with former Seahawk running back Marshawn Lynch, and then wraps up with a pair of NFC South backs in Alvin Kamara and Devontae Freeman. For the first time this year, a player other than Quincy Enunwa leads the way in receiving yards, and it comes in the form of Cowboys wide receiver Cole Beasley. Beasley had exactly 100 yards in the Cowboys' 42-10 win over the Lions to put him 1 yard ahead of Enunwa and 6 yards ahead of our very own Sammy Watkins after his big game. The remaining 2 on the list are Buccaneers wide receiver Mike Evans and our other starting wide receiver Tyreek Hill, which makes for a perfect segue to receiving touchdowns, as he sits atop the list there despite having no touchdowns for the first time of the year in week 4. Joining him and Alshon Jeffrey in being tied for the league lead is Jaguars wide receiver Keelan Cole, followed by the Lions Golden Tate and Chargers Keenan Allen. After 4 games, the NFL sack record looks like it could possibly be in jeopardy at the end of the year, as both Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa are both on pace to record 24 sacks on the year. Trailing them are several players with 5, but the 3 to make the list are Von Miller of the Broncos, TJ Watt of the Steelers, and Calais Campbell of the Jaguars, who seem to have a player in every damn category. But lastly, we have the interception leaders, where not much has changed. Casey Hayward still leads the way as the only player with 3 picks. And just to mix things up, we also have Ronald Darby and Terrell Edmonds joining the top 5, with John Johnson and Denzel Ward, who are among many players tied with 2 interceptions. Looking to next week's schedule, the Thursday night game is an old AFC East matchup with Andrew Luck and the Colts headed to New England to face the Patriots. Moving to Sunday, the Titans go on the road to Buffalo. Atlanta travels to Pittsburgh, where they have never won, but they did tie in 2002. Broncos at Jets, and then we look for a statement win against the 4-0 Jaguars. Packers at Lions, Old Browns versus New Browns. Giants head to Carolina. Miami at Cincinnati, who looks for their first win. Raiders at Chargers, and Cardinals at 49ers in a pair of divisional matchups. The game of the week is an NFC Championship rematch between the Vikings and Eagles. Rams head to Seattle looking to take first place in the West. Texans host the Cowboys on Sunday night, 16 years after beating them on Sunday night in their first game in franchise history. And then on Monday night, Alex Smith and the Redskins head to the Big Easy to face the Saints as they look to avoid losing their 3rd straight. Alright guys, so that's going to wrap up week 4. Join me next video as the Big Bad Kitties come to town and we face the 4-0 Jacksonville Jaguars. We're going to still be without Travis Kelce, but the offense seems to be doing well over the last couple of games and starting to click a little bit, so hopefully that will continue and I'll be able to work out the defensive issues and we can pull off the upset. But I hope you guys enjoyed the highlights, commentary, and graphics throughout this week of my franchise. I appreciate you tuning in, and as always, thanks for watching.